Hello, you guys. I want to have a look on a little bit closer on the Schumann Resonance because I had a little bit more information what is actually going on. And here we can see, so this is the state from the 20th. I got a couple of a good news and a couple of a bad news, and the good news on top of that. There's always something going on. This eclipse season was absolutely crazy. So here we can see, I want you to pay attention see how it drops. And this is, just of those of you who do not know, this is this pulse, this one around 8 hertz. It's actually less than 8 hertz. It's like a 7 point something. That's the regular heartbeat of Earth. This white stuff that's coming practically from the top to the bottom, that is coming from the space. That is usually the help of the extraterrestrials that are like a overlooking on our ascension, and because a lot of us are being absolutely exhausted, like a lot of starseeds and light workers are being just so exhausted, and that's why I was decided to do this like a fast checkup on the Schumann Resonance again, that you understand how to read it more or less. I'm not an expert. I'm just really filtering this for the body, and I hear the frequency in my ears and I feel it in the body and I feel what is happening in the body. So most of my energy updates are based on my physical experience with this frequency. And of course I'm probably most likely as a starseed designed to be able to read this stuff. I would say that most of us really know what is happening, but we just do not have the ability to tap into those informations. Not all of us have the ability to tap into that. Some of us do. Those of us who, let's say, I overcome my body, I had out-of-the-body experience when I started to meditate really many years ago, and all my chakras are actually manifested, so I see them. So oftentimes I getting the visions, I'm getting all sort of information in the visual manner and energetic manner and the frequency wise. So there's a lot of talks about the 5D earth and all this kind of stuff, but honestly now we are in the battle. This is if we are in the 5D, if you are in the 5D, this would be all white. This would be all either all green or all white. Because this is the 5D gamma light. This is the 5D frequency, is the white one. The red one or the orange one, it's all the density, the red and orange. You can think about it as a chakras, in the colors of the chakras. Think about it that way, it's the way as well I read it. And then you, of course, you have to sort of calculate the hertz. Most likely I know how to do it. It's not just intuition, when you know who you are, even you know that you are extraterrestrial, and when you know as a starseed where you're coming from and you start having your dreams, your memories, you will be absolutely able to navigate this ascension, because you will be able to get those information yourself. So most of you practically project me into your reality. So this information activates probably the capabilities that you have as well, the same like I do. It's not that I am super unique or whatever. Well, we are all unique expression of the source energies. So we all have our own unique abilities and gifts. This thin line in here is fear. It's a frequency of fear. It's under 20 hertz. It's around 18 point something. It's around 19 hertz. I always thought it's 20 hertz until I actually once zoomed in and I realized that it's actually not a 20 hertz. But this chart here, the numbering in here, it's not, I don't think it's super accurate. I would have to probably find a different charts that measure the frequency more accurately, but this is a code, this is the fear frequency, and it is bombarding the earth plane for a long time. I don't know for how long. I would have to have a look on Instagram and on the old charts that are actually there, that I'm posting on a regular basis, when this actually started. But this is the artificial frequency, and this one is creating a load of turmoil. It is like tiny little pools which is constantly there, and that one is actually creating all of these kind of things like this. This is the state from today. I couldn't sleep last night. The dreams are absolutely crazy. So this frequency is broadcasted to the entire airplane, and like we will have to talk about artificial intelligence in here, guys. It's not a topic that I wanted to ever really dive into, but I think it's time that I touched on this, because a lot of stuff is being scrambled on the purpose to mess with our timeline, with our ascension timeline. Pay attention to your mind, because like whatever is being broadcasted, like I don't know if you noticed, since especially during the eclipse season, it was so heavy, it was so difficult. The pain in the body was ginormous. We were having a lot of females were having a pain in the uterus, in the womb, like, you know, it was a nightmarish. Like honestly, that was like one of the hardest part ever. This is from today. Last night I couldn't sleep. I had a muscle spasms. Usually when the heartbeat of Earth gets so low, like a kind of like this way, like this, just this kind of a thing, then I'm having like a nightmares. But like a nightmare is like a type of like a fear-based stuff, like really freaking out, and it's like I feel like I'm being hijacked very often. Pay attention to your mind, how busy it gets and what it starts broadcasting. Like for example, you might have a suicidal thought, you know, pay attention to this kind of like a robotic thoughts, type of like, oh, this sucks, I'm never gonna make it, this is horrible, like I'm trapped, I'm captured in this, I don't know how to get out from it, I have no way out to get out from it, you know, I'm too much entangled in this, I don't know, in this physical world, I will not ascend, you know, I am not gonna make it, I'm gonna die, and who name it, like just like a crazy thought. Pay attention to this and pay attention to your dreams, because I had a really weird dreams about like a suicide, like a mass shooting. I had these weird dreams being like trying to go somewhere, check up through into entering the game, where I could be a square avatar, like, you know, those type of avatars, like what they are now, the kids playing with the Minecraft, like this kind of like a ugly square looking like a characters that they are making. I was lying on this table and we're going to check out, and it was constantly saying human, so I could not enter the game. And I was like, okay, so I cannot enter the game, so I will have to change my avatar and then change the avatar again, that I will be able to actually get out with the game. That was my dream, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is just like a super crazy dreams. Also, I had like dreams about political figures from the past, like what the Czech went through. So this usually, when this is this kind of a state on Schumann Resonance, when it's like, you can see it is horizontal, that's the nasty broadcast, and what is vertical, that is the usually being like a helped somehow, but like trying to correct itself, or there might be even a help by the extraterrestrials when is it like that white, to just correct the timeline and just to correct that we stay on track. But what you're gonna be feeling is gonna be a lot of pain in the body, a lot of fear-based like a thoughts, like a really night terrors and nightmares, a lot of pain in the solar plexus and the sacral chakra. And the sacral chakra is actually connected to the throat chakra. So I'm constantly watching like my sacral chakra and the solar plexus sometimes like being out of the whack, like, you know, being like a suck out. It depends what runs in my mind. I can see usually my sacral gets attacked, and then my throat is start to be like, I'm started to choke and started to be, I started to feeling like that, like it's like a ball running inside of me from the sacral to the throat, bang, 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 up and down constantly. And then I get a really like a terror in my mind, like a really weird thoughts about how everything is just like how everything sucks. Most of the time, my thoughts are the type of hopelessness and the thoughts of being trapped. And that's the lowest frequency ever. I think the hopelessness is actually the lowest frequency of all the time. It's lower than shame, it's lower than anything else, it's lower than fear. Because it's like when you feel hopeless, then you sort of gave up that there is no solution. You decided that there is no solution. And, you know, pay attention to this, because this is exactly what is being broadcasted by the fear. Like when there is a fear frequency like that, it will start switching on all your fears. And when those fears are switched on, the artificial intelligence is able to read your thoughts, so they know exactly where to press your buttons, where are your limitations, how to mess up your head, like what type of thought to broadcast on top of that. And if you know like how the mind works, the moment you give it the attention, that another thought is created and followed by another thought and another thought and another thought, and suddenly you spiral down. And that's all the purpose of like being constantly bombarded by this frequency, is to being constantly misaligned. All right, so these states are not good, they're not pretty. So that's the bad news, that the AI is really active. It took me a while to recognize it, but this is, you can see, this is a codes, like that's not very, that doesn't really natural much. This is the old chart from the start of the eclipse season. That was crazy, you know. Here it started, you cannot really see like the state before, but this pushed to the surface the shame. That was the start of the eclipse season. I think that was the solar eclipse. It was the 21st. Something happened at 21st and 27th of October, and then you can see this is the heartbeat of Earth, just to like remind you again, this line, this 8 hertz, and this is still the fear frequency, but this one pushed to the surface the shame. So here it started with the shame, and we started to purge heavy stuff from, you know, from the womb, like, you know, the sexual abuse, the abortion, for the molestation, the humiliation, the verbal abuse, all this fragmentation, what we encounter in our lifetime came online. So on top of that, we have to talk about ancestral anger. I will call it, let's call it the ancestral anger, because a lot of us are actually angry on our ancestors because we are purging their stuff. You know, when you incarnate into this body as a starseed, oftentimes the soul was swapped because, you know, your mother most likely was not able to hold the frequency. So you sort of walk in. You know, a lot of us are walk-ins. Like I am a walk-in. Like I remember that I have the memory about this. And I know other starseed and other channelers talking about very similar stuff, so I was happy that this was my confirmation that many of us are like that. So when you incarnate into this body, the body has a memory of the ancestral lineage and of all the abuses and of all the things that they went through. And I start having the dreams right now with all the frequency what was broadcasted recently. I see this line, see how thick this is. This is like the 19 hertz got so strong. This one, you know, you can see in here, this is, oops, this got really, really, really strong. And here it was suddenly was corrected a little bit by the 30 hertz pulse, which is like helping us with the inflammation. So when you as a starseed incarnate into this body, you obviously are having, the body has a memory, the genetic memory of like what the ancestral lineage was going through. So all sort of things, especially if you're female, all sort of things were like pushed to the surface during this time, during this eclipse season, because of the trauma in the sacral chakra. You know, the trauma, what we went through as a females, like, you know, it's just was really, really, really painful. So hips, pelvic bone, all these was really, really sore. All sort of emotional stressors, because practically sacral chakra is a pressure center. So disempowerment and the manipulation and all the relationships, it is all is coming through the sacral chakra. It is all, the biggest traumas are actually stored there. So the anger, massive anger came online as well. I was like, I was so angry, constantly angry. So pay attention to your mind and how is it manifesting in your body as well, because this is practically broadcasted. This is the artificial intelligence is really messing our timeline and is pushing your buttons. So if you know this, you can catch yourself up by saying, okay, I feel angry and there is some turmoil in my mind. I am having a crazy dreams. So I have to make sure that I work on my alignment again. And what it will be really, really good to do these days is starting with a book of the positive aspects. I notice if I don't align myself before I go sleep, I am having nightmares. So I have to make sure that I go sleep aligned, that I go sleep like in the source. So I'm using all sort of like tools. I am having there is one beautiful meditation. If you have too much pain in the body, you cannot, let's say, do yoga or do all sort of exercises, because it became really difficult actually to keep up with this frequency, which is being now on physically. Like we are exhausted physically. So walks in the nature are gonna help you to realign yourself, you know, baths, showers. You will have to take certain actions, because like we are in the battlefield. Like honestly guys, like this is a battle. We are no near to like standing like quietly on the earth plane at all. It's not gonna happen, not yet. I mean, it's of course being under in the 5D, it's a frequency that you have to hold in the body, but we are fluctuating too much and we are fluctuating very fast. So you have to start consciously creating your way forward in whatever type of manner, with whatever tools you are able to pick up. And you have to have a big, large toolbox that you're going to have all sort of meditations, all sort of like exercises. Sometimes, you know, just connecting to your heart, it's enough. You know, you can see your heart chakra. Let's say if you put your palms on your heart and you start breathing into your heart, you know, a lot of the things will disappear. What I do, I'm moving usually the pain into my heart, and I like sort of wash it out in there and release it. That's one way how you can deal with all these like heavy frequencies that are like going through. Of course, we all have to purge all the stuff from the body and from the DNA, especially the ancestral stuff. That is a long process. It is very difficult. So the feeling of the trapped, the hopelessness, and you know, all the women and all the females from the past went through this. It was the oppression, you know, the poverty, the scarcity, like all of this is coming so much online right now. So we're gonna be scrambled, like, you know, so make it easy to your body as much as you can. Do whatever you can. Meditate more on the purpose, like to make sure that you realign yourself very often, especially before you go sleep. If you want to have a good sleep, make sure you go sleep before midnight. And I would say, I noticed that if I don't go sleep between 10 and 11, I have muscle spasms afterwards. And I know that between 20 minutes before midnight and 20 minutes after midnight, the prana in the body is balancing herself out. And most of the negative thoughts and depression thoughts or anxiety and all of that, it means that you do not have enough prana to helping yourself out, mind and body, to actually rejuvenate and to feed the body with the positive prana. And you obviously have to do something with the body. You cannot just sit and wait when it all passes, because that's too painful. I mean, you can, maybe it's gonna work, but I'm not sure. You know, I noticed that I have to do either some breath work or, you know, I am having all sorts of tools. I having a meditation from Abraham Hicks, which I'm using quite often, just going to the vortex. She has a meditation, it's like, I think 15 minutes or 18 minutes, which is the well-being. And I am using this one for many, many years. I think it's gonna be almost 5 years, which I'm using this one first thing in the morning, and it helps me with the resistance. If I am resisting something, like the surrender, because we as humans, we resist so much the change, and we resist so much even to looking on our shadows, or like dealing with certain like physical ailments, or like emotional baggages, or like looking on the shadows in general. Like we're resisting, and we keep like beating the drum of the negativity like in our heads quite often. So we have to be very careful right now, because artificial intelligence is online. They have their own timeline. That's why all the we think what were put into the bodies of everyone around us, or maybe even you took some, was actually created to hook you into the timeline, into their timeline. So it's important that we spend as much time as possible consciously paying attention to your mind, because this is what you are manifesting. We are manifesting extremely fast. And the time is so quickening that you know, what was in the morning is gonna be different in the lunchtime, and different in the afternoon, and bang, in the night you are scrambled. So be very, very careful, because like a lot of the manifestation that happens right now happens in a matter of hours. You know, you will be able to manifest very, very fast. And detox, eat well, eat high vibrational food. If you go to my webpage, here you go Hana Tesar, that space, you've got here in free resources section, you've got high frequency food, and I'm putting there constantly tons of new recipes just to make it easy. There's a talk about a neem, which is like practically detoxing your cells and restructuring your DNA. You have to take these after your morning meditation or after your morning practices. If you take this little bowl, it's extremely, extremely bitter. So it's good that you are just making this type of little bowl, mixing it with the water, create this little bowl, swallow it, and have like a turmeric going with it. Either turmeric tea, or I think I have it like with the turmeric tea. You know, it says, I'm usually drinking with the tea. This is my first kind of a thing in the morning. You can read here all about it. And then you've got all the recipes, which are all high vibrational. So making sure that you stay as high vibrational as possible. And you know, you've got here as well the mono diet is phenomenal. I am not juicing. I am not doing juicing. I am eating this way. I am eating very simple, most of the vegetable. I am eating sometimes fruit, but very little. I am more vegetable lover. Saffron drink is brilliant because it's high in prana and it is protecting your nervous system. So you've got a lot of good recipes here, which are all designed to help you with the scrambled frequencies. The beetroot salad is my favorite when I am detoxing by beetroot. So I am eating practically this for, let's say, 3-4 days in a row, constantly the same thing. You know, and you can feel the difference in the body because what happens in the body when you're eating this way is that, of course, you have to eliminate, you know, you have to go first through all elimination diet to eliminate all the toxicity. That means there has to be no meat in the body, no cheese and all kind of stuff. But, you know, you can start slowly, surely. The mono diet is here. I have there somewhere. I don't know where it is. I think, oh yeah, it is in here. Sorry. I have there the basics of detox. Yeah, elimination diet. If you click on this one, you've got there here how slowly, surely you should do the elimination diet so that you can, within a year, if you start to being like a vegan and becoming like more like a raw eater, things will get easier for you, you know, physically. You know, I created this because of the physical ailments I had, because of the toxicity that is all over the place. And that's why you've got this blog where you find all the information, all the recipes, the stuff, how I did it. What helped me the most is the food. The food helped me enormously, because what happens when you actually eat this way is that your body will store the positive energy, and then when you are suddenly hungry and you overcome the hunger, let's say you don't have anything to eat, you know, then when you overcome the hunger, within like a couple of minutes, the body switches and it releases the positive energy that it stored from the way you were eating previously, and suddenly you will feel like you ate. It's phenomenal, you know, like I have to say, this is like one of the most amazing thing that I ever experienced, that you have to really experience it. That let's say I was eating only like nuts and dry fruit for a while, and then I got hungry during the lunchtime when I was outside and didn't have anything with me, and suddenly I felt like I ate. I stopped to feeling hungry because my body released the positive energy that it stored, and I didn't feel like any bad stuff whatsoever. You can detox the body with the fennel. You know, all of this stuff, what is in here, it's designed to help you with all the ascension symptoms, actually. I am feeding it up like with the new recipes. I have more to come in here. So you've got all the food what you need, the high vibrational food there. You have here all cool books what you can read. Here you find all sort of informations about the sacral chakra. I have to update this one because I realized that it's connected to the throat. Here you've got a little bit of the psychic attack and the stuff what I went through, stuff about sound healing, you know, all sort of like tools that you can use that talks about ascension, all kind of things about chakras, I know. And of course you will find more on my Instagram. I think it's somewhere on the bottom. Yeah, here we go. If I go on Instagram, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to record. Oh, I am. Okay, so here we go. You've got all under this tab. You find the November, all of the stuff I'm posting. Like, you know, it's there. My battery is low. It's all there. You can find a lot of information in here. So if you something is going on with you, okay, and this one is a really good video. I would like you to, if you would like to really understand how the reality actually works, this is a brilliant video. You will find it. I have it written somewhere here. Yeah, there is a full video is in here. You know, you will find it under this link. So you have to copy it or rewrite it and like find it. You will find how actually we dropped into this incarnation and what we are doing in here and how difficult it is. That's another thing. So you will find a lot of information in here. The Schumann Resonance is in here. I wanted to check actually when it was last time. Okay, this is, I think, from 22nd of July. So the fear frequency is not there much. All right. Yeah, it started around that time. Okay, this is from the June. Okay, these states are from the June. And if you have a look what we're going on from now, then like it sucks. You know, I mean, it's heavily low. So we have to, this is crazy. So we have to really pay attention to what we're doing, what we're consuming. Stay away from the news. Make sure you start writing maybe even like some book of positive aspects. Like, you know, I have to oftentimes looking on the positives, even if I am in the circumstance which I don't know how to handle, but like I needed to start looking more on the positives, because this is gonna fix your attraction point. So you will be attracting better experiences when you try to find something positive, even in the negative situations. You know, even if you're having a pain in the body. I know it's very difficult, but that's it. It is what it is, guys. You know, so. That's it. Shumi is rocking our boat, and you know, artificial intelligence is having their own timeline, and that's the destruction timeline, and that's why a lot of people are hooked on it, and that's why most of the people right now are having a hard time. Starseeds are absolutely exhausted. So one day you might feel good, you know, inspired, and the other day you might feel a lot of pain and a lot of being completely flattened up. So salty baths gonna help. Shower, you know, sometimes when I'm having a turmoil, I just go and have a shower, you know, or go just for a walk. Just like a shift the frequency, but you have to, of course, recognize what's going on. That's why I'm bringing these updates, that you actually understand what is going on. You know, there are ways how to go through this. We cannot bypass it, okay? We're not talking about bypassing. We're not talking about shifting out of it by, oh, I don't want to feel it. No, you have to feel it, but you have to recognize what you're feeling. So the biggest thoughts and the hardest thoughts right now are the thoughts of feeling trapped and hopelessness. So stay tuned and like realign yourself. You know, we are doing it. You know, consciousness is always gonna create the way forward for you. You know, like your higher self is always gonna give you the chance. So don't stress out too much that you cannot make it or stuff like that. You can, you know, if you put the thought outside, or the wish or the desire to get into the better place, something is gonna happen. You know, somebody is gonna pop into your reality and bring you some tools that you need, that they are gonna create the way forward, or they're gonna solve the situation you're in. You know, so don't get hooked up in the negative mind. Don't get hooked up on the limitations. Okay, we are gonna make it for sure. Like, you know, it is a bumpy ride. We are in the midst, and in the, like, I would say now everything is sort of getting too much intense. That's one thing. The other thing, the good news is that we had a load of planets retrograding. There was like, I think the Ketu and Rahu in the Vedic astrology was like hitting our heads for a very, very long time. And those of you who had a very, 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 very difficult life for a very long time, I should have it now a little bit easier, because those planets are going into the more favorable position on the sky and going more into their like home houses, which are not, we're not gonna have that many challenges like a planetary anymore, which is the positive stuff, but we have still AI rocking the shit out. So, you know, this is it, guys. It was a lot of talking, and I couldn't sleep last night, and I was like, oh, I have to share this, because hopefully they're not gonna cut me down too much too fast. The YouTube, I think I'm gonna upload this one as well on my webpage. It's a long video, but yeah, if you have questions, if you need help with something, just like, you know, drop me a line, contact me via Instagram, you know where to find me. And I see you next time, you guys. Hydrate, stay, you know, stay cool, you know, yeah, be good. I love you. I see you next time. Bye.